Hello there, welcome along to Hometown Sounds. I'm Balin Leonard, and this is a celebration of country, Americana, and roots music, all from the UK. Now, it's not a replacement for The Long Road, but it is a continuation of a project that we started last year, where right after the festival, we took some of our best UK artists off to Nashville to play the Americana Fest, and then on to the birthplace of country music, Bristol, Tennessee, to play the Rhythm and Roots Reunion Festival. It's all about showcasing the wonderful UK talent that we have to as wide an audience as possible. So coming up, we're gonna hang out and hear some music from Ferris and Sylvester and Ward Thomas. We're gonna talk Southern food and fashion with Texas Joe, and we're gonna check in with our very special guest, Brandy Clark, from her home in Nashville. So let's get the music started with UK trio, the Adelaides.
You give me butterflies when I'm looking right in your eyes. You always know what I'm thinking, it's like you read my mind. You know just what to say, you say it in every right way. And every time that I'm with you, I'm losing track of time. You make the coffee stronger, way I like it. You let me sleep a little longer, cause I like it. When I hit rock bottom, I don't hide it. Cause no one knows me like you do. No one knows me like you. Hey! You give me good, good love. You give me good, good love. You give it 24/7. Make me feel like I'm in heaven. Yeah, you give me good, good love. Hey! You are my puzzle piece I never thought I'd ever have. You call me beautiful even when I am feeling bad. You always fix a fight, don't sleep till you make it right. And when I spin out of control, you put me back on track. You leave the shower running hot just how I like it. When I lose my key, you always find it. You are my ice cold feet, though you don't like it. Cause no one knows me like you do. No one knows me like you. You give me good, good love. You give me good, good love. You give it 24/7. Make me feel like I'm in heaven. Yeah, you give me good, good love. Hey, you give me good, good love. You give me good, good love. You give it 24/7. Make me feel like I'm in heaven. Yeah, you give me good, good love. And if I ever lose you, I would lose myself. If I ever lose you, I would lose myself. I would lose myself. You give me good, good love. Hey! You give me good, good love. You give me good, good love. You give it 24/7. Make me feel like I'm in heaven. Yeah, you give me good, good love. Hey! You give me good, good love. Tell everyone about it. You give me good, good love. Just you give it 24/7. Make me feel like I'm in heaven. Yeah, you give me good, good love. Hey! You give me good, good love.
And we'll have more music coming up from the Adelaides a little bit later in the show, but now I've taken a little walk down the street, found a bar just across from the iconic music venue, the Roundhouse, here in Camden in London, to catch up with Ward Thomas. Hello.
Hello.
It's great to see you in person, like here we are.
It's great to see you as well. It's been a very long time, it feels like, anyway.
I know, but it feels like there's a light at the end of the tunnel now. Look, I mean, we're out and about, we're in a bar, there's people on the street, it's all happening.
We're in a bar.
Yeah.
Peculiar. Not wearing masks, it's great.
I know, we've got the proper, we've got it all under control.
The space.
So you guys have been busy, even though, you know, a lot of people haven't been. New music and everything.
I know, we've been very lucky actually, because being on lockdown together in a cottage has meant that we were able to record lots of new music and put stuff out there. So we were lucky.
Because we started writing our 4th album before lockdown happened.
Right.
And we started like producing, working with Jonathan Cornby, who produced a lot of the album. And so we finished it. We had to almost kind of learn to be slight engineers at home.
So you learned new skills.
We learned new
did.
skills, which was so good for us.
We had lockdown to thank for that because we've always been very complacent about not having to, and now we can, and it's a skill that I'm very pleased that we have because it's made recording an album from home possible, which we never thought was.
And writing as well. It's opened a lot of doors for us. Like,
Did you normally not write at home?
well, no, I mean, we wrote at home, but now we can write and then record
And do a whole
straight
album.
away. Or like, you know, put some piano down and stuff. It's been really fun. It's been really fun.
So while everybody else was learning to make like sourdough bread and
Well, I did that
knitting-
too.
Oh, you did? All right, you covered all your
I
bases.
made so much sourdough.
And banana bread.
Yeah.
2 loaves a day, probably.
Yeah, and there's so much.
I
you
see
can do
no
with
banana
sourdough.
bread here.
I'm
I know.
sorry. I mean, that was like before we got busy again, obviously.
So-
No more banana.
So we're just across the street from the Roundhouse, which is such an iconic venue. You guys have played the Roundhouse, right?
We have. We did our own set upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a Christmas show.
Christmas show years ago.
That was a Christmas show.
We made cupcakes for
Yes.
every audience member. We made a little goodie bag, and I had Tupperware boxes of cupcakes.
Like hundreds of
and Polaroid
cupcakes.
pictures and little goodies, and that was a really fun time.
It's
And then-
always really interesting to me when at the heart of a band, or they start out with a kind of a country soul, but then recognize that actually their music translates beyond that. And you know, going out with these different artists who don't sit within country at all, and I know that you guys have done some stuff that sits outside of country as well. Tell me about that kind of journey, because you started out and you were very much a country band, right?
Yeah, it's sort of been a very natural, it's evolved very naturally. And the thing that we found really interesting about touring with James Blunt, we toured with David Gray in Australia and Jack Savoretti in Europe, none of which are country acts. However, the way that they write songs and a lot of the songwriting, especially James Blunt, is not far from country, especially his new record. And it was very fun to go out with them because country music as a genre, I think, has slowly changed to be so defined. I think that now you can sit in different genres, but as long as you're authentic to the storytelling and for us, it's harmonies, the songwriting and storytelling that we've never ever wanted to stray from. And in the studio, we might play with different sounds and play with different ideas, but we always end up coming back to the
Our
roots of
roots,
country.
yeah.
And especially with Invitation, we were at home in the countryside recording this album
With your chickens?
with our
and-
chickens,
yeah.
with our dogs, with all of them, and it felt very country again. And it felt like there's a song on the album called Dear Me that's entirely a cappella, and it felt like totally like, oh, this is what we do, this is why we do it. And it was very much a country moment.
Yeah, I think this album is definitely going back to our roots 100%, and we will always be country, you know, we're complete country artists.
Yeah.
That's where we come from, countryside, we grew up on a farm, it's just in our blood, so, but we'll always be open-minded to other
We like to
genres
dip
as
our
well.
toe, but then keep in the country
Yeah.
heart and soul.
And you guys played the first ever Long Road Festival. What,
Oh yes, that was
2018 that
We
was.
had
when you
That
guys
was
such
played.
fun
so
memories of
much
that.
fun. I remember I was wearing a pink suit.
Yeah,
That
I
was
remember that suit.
That was so fun, and the crowd there, just like, it was such a good, well done festival. Like it was like stepping into Nashville.
I think it was probably my favourite
Oh,
festival we ever played
definitely.
last year. It was, I mean, on
We were all
2018.
buzzing after that.
It was such a fun gig.
And I find you guys must find this. There are so many people discovering country music every day as if it never existed before, or as if, you know, and this is probably true, they had an outdated idea of what country music is. But
Completely.
I really do feel like there's something in country music for everybody.
Totally,
I
I
agree.
think so. And like, especially now that we can kind of be our own tastemakers and pick out our own music that we like more than ever. The more people we speak to, that like go, oh my goodness, I absolutely love country music. And then I remember we had a conversation with our friend who was like, I was listening to this playlist and then I saw that you guys were on it. And I was like, was it a country playlist? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, why are you shocked? No, it was funny.
Of course we were on it.
Of course we're on it. No, it was funny. And it's just really nice to hear that from people just sort of in passing how much they love it.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
just going in leaps and bounds, and
Yes.
you guys as well. So congratulations on how far you've come already, but also what's coming and what is coming. Like, what's next for you guys?
So the album will come out and in October, the 2nd of October.
2nd of October.
Which is very soon.
Yeah, it's right
Oh my
around the
God,
corner.
really soon.
Shockingly.
Yeah.
And we're going to just be
Well,
hopefully
we've got
performing
a
live
tour
at
next
some point
year.
next year, if it's allowed.
It's right now. Our tour is in
April.
April and May. Well, yeah,
April and May 2021.
2021. Hopefully,
Yeah, fingers crossed. We'll definitely be ready to
move it
perform by
twice.
then.
But
And it's going to be a very interesting tour because it would have been a tour that we would have performed this May,
Right.
gone,
Yeah.
and we'll have an album out by then, so it's going to be a totally different set.
Amazing. I look forward to
that's,
that.
yeah, that's all coming.
Well, thank you guys for stopping by. We'll run down the street and we'll have some music from you coming up later in the show, right?
Yes.
But now we're going to have more music from Ferris and Sylvester.
Change a thing, you let me down again. Should be on a train.
I wish I was a child at school, learning about the Vikings and thinking shapes were cool. I would fight you like a knight, instead I fight you like a fool. I will color across the lines with green and gold, turn it on its head and make something new and bold. They don't let you do that here, you gotta stick inside your mold. I wish I was a child, but I'm sad and old. Don't let the system knock you down. Don't let the people throw you out. Don't let the system knock you down. I want Pinky sing a playtime on a Friday. I wouldn't follow you, instead I'd do it my own way. When did I wake up and change who I was and what I say? I was better off a child, I was wicked and brave. Don't let the system knock you down. Don't let the people throw you out. Don't let the system knock you down. I had dreams, but I cut them loose. I had so many things to do. Always found some dumb excuse. I wish I was a child, but I'm someone new. Don't let the system knock you down. Don't let the people throw you out. Don't let the system knock you down. Don't let the system knock you down. Don't let the system knock you down. Don't let the people throw you out. Don't let the system knock you down.
Thanks very much.
Well, more hometown sounds from them in a minute, but let's have a little chat first. Ferris and Sylvester, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's good. We're good. Thank you so much for having us. This is so fun to actually come and do something that's like a gig. And look, I can hear that you're in London.
Yeah, exactly. We are here, Hometown Sounds in London, and Sirens are definitely a
Yeah.
hometown sound, but so are you guys, or well, you were until you moved out of London. You had a big change.
We did.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't really told anyone about that yet.
Oh.
Our family
Exclusive.
haven't managed to find us yet. We had kept our address private. We had moved house the week before lockdown, which was pure chance. Yeah, we've been able to set up a little studio in there now. But now I suppose we're going to have to tell our family where we live, aren't we? So we've
You
got
don't have to.
quite a good bubble going where we are.
Good. Because a lot of your songs, certainly earlier songs, they really referenced London or specifically Streatham, where you were, and of course now you've left all that behind and you've moved out to the country. Do you think it's going to change how you sound and what you write about?
Good question.
That is a good question. I mean, we've been writing a lot because it's been locked down and it's been a very odd time for everybody, but we've actually found it quite a good time to write when you're kind of not touring all the time. And yeah, the Streatham, Made in Streatham, which was the EP that came out 2 years ago, that really did feel like, you know, us and our lives and our friends' lives, it all felt like that was that in that whole EP. Whereas now I feel like what we're writing is definitely a progression, and there's definitely a storyline, but we're not writing about, you know, cows in the countryside
Yet.
not yet. That's the next album. No, but I think it does. Your environment always affects what you write and what you want to talk about and what you want to say.
One of the things that I love about your music is that even though it was quite specific, some of it was quite specific, like we were talking about it being about London or about Streatham or something, but it still had this universal appeal to it. And you guys have been able to travel a bit, and I know that you've been to Nashville and taken your music there. And I know for me, watching it, I'm always mind blown that something that seems quite specific to someone actually has this real universal appeal to it. And what about you guys? Was that your experience when you took what is ultimately a UK twist on a genre or a sound, and then you took it to Nashville? What was the response, and were you surprised by it?
That's a great question.
Yeah, good question. He's pulling them out of the bag today. Well, with Nashville, for instance, we were always aware that the type of music that we were doing in Nashville was always a hotbed for it. But we were always quite driven to make our sound, to sort of know what our sound was. And as you said, based in Streatham, and that was our little hub. And we wanted to know what we were before we went out to Nashville, and to take influence from there and see, and to sort of see how it goes down. Because as you say, we are singing about Streatham, which I'm sure to somebody from Nashville that wouldn't have a clue. I bet there's someone in America called Streatham though.
Oh, there will be. There'll be many Streathams somewhere. But there'll be loads of people in the UK that don't know Streatham either.
That's right. It's South London. St. Wreatham is actually how it's pronounced, especially in Nashville.
Even in the States, artists who work within Americana are influenced by so many different sounds and artists. But in the UK, I suppose it's even wider because you guys bring in, some people think you're blues, you know, some people say you're, and I know that these labels aren't necessarily important, but do you feel like you fit within Americana or country? Or, you know, what is your kind of, you're just making music, presumably, but then when you get out in the world, everybody wants to put you into a box, I suppose.
Yeah.
Sure, and I kind of get it because, you know, that people need the brackets to kind of make sense of something. So, you know, we never kind of feel weird when people say Americana, blues or whatever. I think if we were going to describe it, we'd say it was, like folk, blues, Americana with a bit of rock and roll. But we take influence from so many different places. You know, it's weird. Like our dads actually both are really into gypsy jazz. So just playing London's Blues just then for the first time in quite a few months, like that rhythm came from that inspiration. And then, as you say, a lot of blues is in our music and is really a genre that we love. But then also, like, we've got this new EP coming out, I Should Be on a Train, and there's a song on that called Good Man, which has a very, very different feel and has sitars and a kind of Ravi Shankar influence to it. So we really do enjoy when we're writing, especially now, especially when we haven't been touring and it's been more about making the sounds at home and kind of in our studio. We've really enjoyed kind of experiencing all of all of those influences. But I think it's actually really exciting what's happening in Americana music at the moment. Like if you look at the nominees for Americana Fest over in America, you've got Nathaniel Rateliff, who I would say kind of embodies what I would consider Americana. But then you've also got Brittany Howard, who's kind of pushing out all the boundaries in rock and blues, and she's nominated for lots of stuff. So it's an exciting bracket to be in, definitely.
Gives us a bit of room, a little bit of leeway, I think. Because as songwriters, you don't want to bracket yourself. You want to push yourself. You want to go, why don't we try using a mellotron? We've never used a mellotron before. Let's try and write something with that, and something else is going to come out. And so, you bracketing yourself as a songwriter is really difficult. Yeah. And it's something that we're very happy being in Americana, as long as we can, go a little bit over here and then a little bit over there every so often.
I think that's what Americana is, isn't it? You know, it's such a wide genre, but also really welcoming. I think as well, and not just in terms of the influences and the styles that you can bring in there, but I actually find the fans and the artists themselves are very welcoming. You know, they're very all-encompassing, because on the one end of Americana, you could have something that's quite old school and quite really traditional sounding or really rootsy sounding, and then on the other end of it, you can have something that's very rock and roll, or very jazzy or very blues sounding. And actually, you guys probably run the gamut of all of those things, right? You don't seem like you're hemmed in by any sort of restrictions on what you can do.
But you're right, actually, because about the audience and the people that it draws in. Like we were talking about it the other day, when we played Long Road 2 years ago, we then went out on, we put our first ever tour tickets on sale not too long after that. And we love playing the Long Road, and we love playing it was just a great crowd. But you never know who's going to connect and then go away and buy your music and go away and maybe buy a ticket. But we've met so many people. We've done 2 tours since then, and so many people have said, I saw you at the Long Road, and that's how I discovered you. And it really does bring together a group of people who are really special, who love live music, love new music, and that's definitely very, very great for us.
Oh, that's so good to hear, because that's kind of one of the goals of the Long Road, is to put all of this music, because you could just do commercial country sounding music, or you could just do Americana or whatever, but kind of putting them all together in one festival. The hope is that somebody who comes to see a big Nashville country superstar on the main stage, or comes to see, some kind of Americana legend on one of the other stages, actually discovers that they like the other one just as much. You know, they happen by and maybe they hear, what's that joyful noise? Oh, it's Ferris and Sylvester, and they discover you that way. So it's really good that that's actually happening.
It definitely did. It's great. It's always great to hear where people have heard your music. Like, why are you here?
Well, I'm going to get out of your way and let you play some more music, but I just want to end on thinking about live music venues, because I think where I met you guys for the first time is where you guys met.
Yeah.
Right? A little bar in Camden, in London.
Spiritual bar.
The Spiritual Bar. And you guys were doing, I don't even know, were you doing like a weekly thing there? Or
possibly
were you
at the time,
both going there as kind of, just patrons and met each other? But I'm thinking about those special little kind of magical, and that's a hole in the wall, really. But clearly magic happened there, and thinking about in the past few months where none of us have been able to kind of experience that magic together, and that serendipity of just meeting someone or hearing their music or catching their eye, and then something wonderful happening. How can we keep that alive other than to keep the music playing, I suppose, right?
Yeah. Well, and a place like Spiritual Bar, I think its capacity is 60 people, but that is a stretch.
Not during these times.
No.
9 people feels quite busy in there.
Yes, it does.
And we met through there and through a community of musicians, which I had just moved to London when we met, and I loved it for the music first and foremost, and for the opportunity, but also just that's where I made my friends. That's where we
Yeah.
made friends. And so it's an incredibly important part of our journey. And I think of lots of other people's journeys. I mean, Jade Bird, Jack Broadbent, a lot of Americana acts have found their feet at Spiritual Bar.
So, well, we're going to keep the music playing.
Yes.
So thank you. I'm going to get out of your way, and we'll have more from Ferris and Sylvester.
I should be on a train. I should be on a train. Be gone before you wake. Head someplace far away. Oh, where they can't tempt our fate. I should be on a train. I should have been tough. I should have been tough. Tell you not to call me up. Put an ocean between us. Oh, but my feet can't come unstuck. Oh, I should have been tough. Should have been, could have been, would have been. But I can't bear your love. Maybe we should slow down before you go and knock me out. 'Cause I can't bear your touch. You'll never change a thing. You let me down again. I should be on a train. I should be on a train. Head out and maybe wait to hear you screaming out my name. Oh, but you won't beg me to stay. I should be on a train. Could have been, should have been, would have been. Could have been, should have been, would have been. But I can't bear your love. Maybe we should slow down before you go and knock me out. 'Cause I can't bear your touch. You'll never change a thing. You let me down again. I should be on a train. I should be on a train. I should be on a train. I can't bear your love. Maybe we should slow down before you go and knock me out. 'Cause I can't bear your love. Maybe we should slow down before you go and knock me out. Knock me out. Start up again somewhere new. See what you put me through. Shed a light on the dark times. 'Cause I can't bear your touch. You'll never change a thing. You let me down again. I should be on a train. I should be on a train. But I'm right here all the same. Sat behind you in your wake. Oh, I guess I knew that I'd stay. I should be on a train.
I'm going down to Austin, Texas. Going down to save my soul. Get that barbecue barbecue and chili. Eat my fill and come back home. I'm gonna take my baby back with me. We gonna have a high old time.
Well, music and fashion go hand in hand with country and Americana music, and here we are at an actual bona fide barbecue joint in the middle of London. They're getting ready for the big hungry rush in just a minute, but we're going to catch up with Texas Joe. Hello, sir.
Howdy.
So here we are in central London, but I could easily be in Texas. You brought a little bit of your hometown here.
Well, yeah, that was the mission, was to try to make it feel as much like what I know is home as possible.
So food and fashion and music, all very important to country and Americana music. They all go hand in hand. And I know that you have had quite a hand in dressing a lot of the artists that we love at the Long Road and beyond.
Yeah, we have a company based in Indiana called Union Western Clothing, and we started off relatively small. I believe it's been about 8 years now, and we sort of made some free kind of rhinestone inspired, like nudie suits inspired clothing for artists that we knew that were kind of on the up and up, like Robert Ellis and Nikki Lane, and then it went on to be sort of Joshua Headley and such, and then suddenly like the pop scene got hip to it, and so we were dressing people like Post Malone and Diplo, and so yeah, it's been a wild couple of years as the sort of rhinestone cowboy became like a fashion mainstream icon.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's just talk a little bit about kind of the history of that, the nudie suit and then Manuel and now you, because I think a lot of people, when they think about kind of your classic country star, that's exactly what they picture. They picture those rhinestones and that embroidery. So let's talk about how kind of that started and how we got to here.
I mean, Western tailoring sort of came out of the movies, and that's the sort of silver screen cowboys, and they didn't really wear much rhinestones. But then nudie around 1952 started dressing people like Ernest Tubb, and I believe his first customer was Lefty Frizzell, and Lefty was sort of a tough cowboy type, but he convinced them that if he put on these rhinestones on his outfit, that when he went out on stage, he'd really shine like a star. And so that sort of created this whole movement of like a way to elevate the artist's performance and make him seem like a bigger than life personality.
And it definitely works, doesn't it? Yeah. And food, the thing I know about barbecue is I love it, and that there are loads of different types of barbecue in the American South, depending on which state you're in.
Yeah.
It's very specific. So your style is Texas. So what's the Texas style of barbecue?
Well, there's sort of a variety of styles even within Texas, because God knows we're quite a big joint. You
Yeah.
could fit England in it 3 times. But we specifically do Central Texas hill country barbecue, which is smoked over oak for a long time. Brisket is sort of the key joint of meat, and it's just literally flavored with salt, pepper, and smoke. So we let the quality of the meat and the wood do all the talking.
Right, so there's no sauce.
We have sauce on the side if you're some sort of unsophisticated heathen that needs to pour it all over.
I know because I'm from Tennessee and we have a very specific type. And then is it Carolinas where it's all kind of a vinegar-based sauce?
Tennessee is historically a little bit more of a sweet and sticky sauce, and in Carolina it's kind of vinegar-based and more for pork.
Yeah, and then you've got states that do it with mustard and states that do a dry rub. And so it is just really kind of a huge, big genre of thing instead of this catch-all barbecue.
Well, yeah, the sort of hipsterization of Texas barbecue has made sort of this specific kind of barbecue get picked up all across the country. And that's kind of eradicated a little bit of that sort of local origin thing, which is unfortunate. But in the majority of places, there's still a very strong culture that survives, from whole hog barbecue to specific little joints.
Now, here we are in the middle of London, in the UK. We already know that there's this boom in appreciation for country music and Americana music here. I've been in the UK for 20 years, and I have to say, when I first moved here, barbecue was pretty thin on the ground, and now it seems like there's barbecue everywhere. So how have you seen this kind of growth in the appreciation and love of the food that you're serving here?
Well, yeah, there was a certain period of like a boom in barbecue, and it sort of played on this sort of cliche and stereotype of what an American restaurant would be. So it was like corrugated tin and neon and this kind of faux religion, and I think it sort of was lacking in authenticity. And there were loads of people trying to kind of make a franchise model out of barbecue, and in America that's never even worked. And so the majority of those places have fallen off, and me opening this was kind of a response to that. I wanted to actually show you a little bit more of what it's like in a Texas joint and in a barbecue joint, and stay super true to that vision and history.
Texas music scene, you can be a superstar in Texas and never leave the state. So, I mean, it's just like an embarrassment of riches when it comes to Texas and its music scene. Coming up through that, do you think that there are artists that, well, I know there are that are just quite happy to stay in Texas, but it's interesting to see some of these artists that have been big in Texas for a long time starting to break out, like Aaron Watson and Cody Jinks and things like that. Like, what is it about Texas, do you think? Is it just the size of it and the terrain that makes that sound so special?
Well, in Texas, like in a city like Austin, you can go country dancing 5 nights a week, and literally there's people that go every night. So bands have a chance to work quite hard and regularly and make a decent living at it. So I think that creates this kind of Texas dance hall sound. It is a real party scene more than like a concert that you just go to. It's like people go there to dance, and it is just like going to a pub here, you know?
Yeah.
So it really nurtures its own identity, which I think a lot of music scenes these days, like England, where you're losing venues left and right, they don't really have a chance to nurture a scene like that where you can play and tighten up, you know, by having a weekly residency and 4 other gigs, you know.
Well, thanks so much for talking to us, Texas Joe.
You.
Absolute pleasure. It smells amazing in here, so I've definitely worked up an appetite.
All right.
While we check out the barbecued goods, we're going to have more music from the Adelaides.
You give me good, good love. You give me 24/7. Baby, feel like I'm in heaven. Wave the white flag, wave it higher than before. We're going down tonight. Further than before, I'm screaming, no survivors. When my heart is in your hands, there will be no survivors here tonight. And I am getting numb, so numb I can feel the thing. I'd rather spend my life getting hurt than wondering if you are heading down the road that I am traveling. Are you not satisfied? I'm not here to start a war. I'm not looking for a fight. I just need to know your answer to move on with my life. And I'm caught inside a storm, and you're drifting out of sight. There's one more chance to take my hand. Oh, there'll be no survivors here tonight. I don't want no one, don't want nobody else. And if you don't want me, I guess I'll be by myself. And if you cut the rope, choose to end this life, I'll be gone. and you're drifting out of sight. There's one more chance to take my hand. Oh, there'll be no survivors here tonight. I'm not here to start a war. I'm not looking for a fight. I just need to know your answer to move on with my life. And I'm caught inside a storm, and you're drifting out of sight. There's one more chance to take my hand. Oh, there'll be no survivors here tonight. Wave the white flag, wave it higher there before we're going down tonight. Further there before I'm screaming, no survivors. No survivors here tonight. Yeah, I'm a turner. I turn pages all the time. I don't like where I'm at. 34 is bad, so I just turned to 35. Yeah, I'm a keeper. I keep digging down for the deep. Like the records I'm playing, that might keep you waiting, but you know I'm gonna play them for keeps. And if the house just keeps on winning, I got a wild card up my sleeve. And your love keeps giving me lemons, I just mix them in my drink. And if the whole wide world stops singing and all the stars go dark, keep the light on in my soul and keep the bluebird in my heart. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, I'm a giver. Yeah, and I'll still give it hell. Forgiving's pretty hard, so maybe hard how to forget them well. Yeah, I'm a rhymer. I can turn 20 cents into a 10. And if I get confused and I start to lose, I rhyme a dime till it all makes sense. And if the house just keeps on winning, I got a wild card up my sleeve. And if love keeps giving me lemons, I just mix them in my drink. And if the whole wide world stops singing and all the stars go dark, keep the light on in my soul and keep the bluebird in my heart. Ooh. Ooh. And if the house just keeps on winning, I got a wild card up my sleeve. And if love keeps giving me lemons, I just mix them in my drink. And if the whole wide world stops singing and all the stars go dark, keep the light on in my soul and keep the bluebird in my heart. Keep the light on in my soul and keep the bluebird in my heart.
Great music from the Adelaides, and now they join me here. Hello, thank you. How was that?
Amazing.
Really
Great.
good. Really good.
We're not used to it.
Yeah. It's been a while.
It has been a while.
Yeah, everyone has.
You know, I was thinking back earlier when I was watching you guys that it was 2018 the very first Long Road Festival, you guys are on the front porch, the BBC introducing stage, and so much has happened to you guys since then.
I know. That feels like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It does, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it does. We had our like 3rd year anniversary as a band. When was it?
Couple of weeks ago,
Yeah, a
I
couple
can't
of weeks
remember the
ago.
day.
And it doesn't feel like we've been together for 3 years. Does
No,
it?
not at all.
So yeah,
Yeah.
So what were some of the big highlights in those 3 years?
definitely the Royal Albert Hall.
Yes.
Got to put that up
And
there.
Nashville. Nashville.
Nashville. Yeah, Hyde Park as well. We've done that twice, I think now.
Mm-hmm.
That's always
That's
amazing.
always amazing, yeah.
But touring with Charles Eston has to be
Up there.
up there. Top.
And the Royal Albert Hall, yeah.
Yeah.
That's always going to be a highlight, right?
Yeah.
But going to Nashville as well, had any of you been to Nashville before you went as a
I
group?
had once before, but yeah, it's not the same without the girls. So.
Aw.
And we're looking forward a little bit to TLR 21. You guys are going to come back
Yes.
We are.
and bring all of this kind of life experience and all this new music with
Yes.
you.
Cannot
And, I can't wait for you guys to get back there. So what are you looking forward to in 21?
Well, obviously Long Road.
Just getting back on stage.
I know.
In
Yeah,
general.
We don't actually know what things are going to be going ahead next year.
Well, we're going to be having our album out next year for sure.
Right,
So
okay.
that's the main thing for us. We've waited, 3 years for that moment. So that's ready. We had a meeting actually the other day about the songs on the album.
And is it all ready to roll?
Yeah.
We're just waiting
We know
to
the
push
name,
it.
Yeah.
we know everything. It's just, it's ready now.
Have you told anybody the name yet?
No.
No.
We're not allowed.
Would you like to tell us the name now?
We'll be in trouble.
It's called We'll Be in Trouble. Well, thank you for joining us here. And we look forward to seeing you at TLR in 21.
Oh, thank you for having us on.
Thank
We
you.
look forward to seeing you.
So now we have a very special guest. We are going to catch up with one of the Interstate Stage headliners scheduled for TLR 21. She will be here in September of next year, but for now, she's at home in Nashville. It's Brandy Clark.
I used to wanna be a cowboy, a shadow in the sunset. That's why I started smoking cigarettes.
Brandy Clark, hello. Good to speak to you. How are you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm really good. I'm excited to talk to you, not just to catch up on what you've been up to, but also just so looking forward to having you as one of our Interstate Stage headliners at the Long Road next year.
I'm so stoked for that.
I mean, I was going to say your new record. It is your latest record, but I mean, it feels like maybe it's been out for a while, but time has just been condensed.
Yeah. Well, it came out March 6th.
Yes.
And I did, what's funny is I got to go to New York and do TV, which I feel really lucky. I was the last person that got to do the Today Show in studio. And so it's been kind of a different sort of release for me.
Yeah.
Work up to that release. And then through the first week of the release, doing all those things. And then, we're done. I had to pivot really quick and get into doing this, promote it this way. But I'm really proud of it. And I feel really lucky the way it's been embraced, even in the middle of crazy times. People still have room for music.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I think music is one of the things I think that has saved us, and has always done that. But certainly in the past few months and all the stuff that the world has been going through, I think so many people have not rediscovered music again, but rediscovered what music can do for them again. That whether that is take your mind off something or whether that's to really focus your mind on something, whichever you're using it for. And this record has opportunities for all of that. So how long was the process up to getting to March with this record?
So, my last record came out in 2016.
Yep.
And so from that point until I made this record in early 2019, it was a process of writing songs. And a lot happened to me between Big Day in a Small Town and this record. I went through a lot. I went through a personal breakup of a long relationship that I didn't realize I was writing about as much until it got to the point where you're picking songs and I'm like, oh, wow, this is kind of a breakup record. I just wanted to make a record, the most creative record I could. And I made it with the most creative guy I know, Jay Joyce. And I wanted to challenge him up front. And so I didn't realize it was going to be a breakup record. And so I thought I need a concept. I always need a concept. And so since I didn't have one, at least I didn't think I had one idea-wise, I thought, let's do a sonic concept, which is different for me. And so I said, what if we cut it all acoustic? And so I thought, wouldn't that be amazing to challenge a guy like him to that? He loved the idea. Him, myself, Jed Hughes, and Giles Reeves. So we were recording everything, just 4 people, a lot of times sitting around a circle, just working on getting the right take. And somewhere along the way, Jay said to me, how do we make this different from every other acoustic singer-songwriter record? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but what do we do to make this yours? And I said, well, I love strings. And he was like, oh, strings, they're hard to record. You need a lot of them. So I kind of thought, okay, well, that idea's out the window. Well, then he called me that night and said, you were saying strings. And I said, yes. He said, what if we did Memphis strings and horns? What if we tried that? And I always feel like a producer's the last writer on a song.
Right.
And so I really trust a producer. I think probably more than most artists, because I think if you don't produce it yourself, like you have to. And so I didn't really know what that meant. He referenced Dusty in Memphis. He referenced I Am Shelby Lynn, and he referenced Bobby Gentry. He's like, think that sort of string and horn arrangement.
What a trilogy.
Yes. I said, let's try it.
Well, you know what? One of the things that I've always loved about your music, and when I'm talking about the sound of it, the lyrics, they're truth-telling, and they hold up a mirror to sometimes, yourself, sometimes other people, sometimes society. But one of the things that I've always loved about you as an artist is that you sit quite comfortably in several different camps. We talked about that you were over for the Americana Awards, and we saw each other then, and you're playing the long road, which encompasses country and Americana and roots music, and you've had some kind of pop country sounding songs, you've had some traditional country sounding songs, and so it's almost like you were saying that you took the shackles off yourself. From an outside perspective, it never seemed like the shackles were on, because it always seemed like you were kind of going where the muse led you.
Well, I love that it felt like that from the outside. I think for me, growing up, I got my music on country radio.
Right.
I discovered artists like Mary Chapin Carpenter and Patti Loveless and the Judds on country radio. So in my heart, I thought, oh, that's where my music has to live. Right. Well, things change and evolve, and formats change, so I think what I do now does sit more in Americana, alt country roots than it does mainstream country. And that, for a minute, that felt a little bit like the death of a dream on some level.
I got you.
But the truth is, I think because it sits, like you're saying, in all these places, it's probably bigger than I could dream it.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, you're absolutely right in that the way country music radio is also evolving, because I grew up on country music radio as well. And, it was pretty prescriptive, and you kind of knew exactly what you were getting. And now, not every station, but certainly more stations are opening up their boundaries to what can be country music. And also, I think music itself is opening up to country more. Country, I think, has always drawn on, and all music draws on all sorts of different influences and different genres. But it seems like other genres, certainly lately, are really recognizing this kind of bedrock of country music, and these country artists that have laid this groundwork. And you can call it whatever you want, but ultimately it kind of just boils down to, is it any good?
That's so true. One of my first publishers told me, Brandy, there are 2 kinds of musics. It's either good or it's bad. If it makes you feel something, it's good. If it doesn't, it's not good. And I think that's really true. And I think the more that we can grab onto that, the better music can be and will become.
So one of the things that we've been doing this year, because of everything that's going on, is that we've really been honoring kind of hometown sounds, and honoring some of the artists and the songs that have really connected with the UK crowd. And you've been over here enough to know the UK crowd really, really well. They know and have taken to heart so many of your songs. So whether it's a new song from your wonderful new album or whether it's an older song, which song have you picked for the hometown crowd and why have you picked it?
I feel like I'm Elvis when I play in the UK because people know every word to every song. And I'm gonna play one. The album hadn't come out yet. This wasn't a Grat track. People had heard this just on YouTube. Like somebody posted a video of it. And so I get over there expecting nobody to know it. They know every word. So this is Can We Be Strangers? I'd skip that party, yeah, I never would have gone. If I could have seen the future, I would have just stayed home. Be a name I didn't know, somehow the conversation, with a laugh I never loved, lips I never tasted. I don't wanna want you, I don't wanna love you, I don't wanna hate you, or even care enough to. We struck out as lovers, we struck out as friends. Is it too much to ask? Can we be strangers? Again, sunny Sunday mornings, yeah, they wouldn't hurt so bad. Songs about New Orleans wouldn't make me so damn sad. You wouldn't be that number I've deleted 7 times. That hammer in my chest when someone orders Crown Sprite. I don't wanna want you, I don't wanna love you, I don't wanna hate you, or even care enough to. We struck out as lovers, we struck out as friends. Is it too much to ask? Can we be strangers? You don't miss some place you've never been, some face that you ain't ever met. No, you don't have to remember what you ain't ever had to forget. I don't wanna want you, I don't wanna love you, I don't wanna hate you, or even care enough to. We struck out as lovers, we struck out as friends. Is it too much to ask? Can we be strangers? Yeah. Can we be strangers? Yeah.
The wonderful Brandy Clark, who I cannot wait to see headline the Interstate stage at next year's Long Road Festival. Well, thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you at the Long Road next year, September 2021. And to play us out, one of the UK's biggest country acts is Ward Thomas.
Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I build my life around you. I still sit around thinking, wondering what you've been up to. And if you're happy now, sure looks like she loves you. And the what could have beens are always what I come back to. Like it's always been you, 'cause I missed out. Could have worked out, but I had my doubts. They all seem stupid now. It's so bittersweet. I could have had it all. It was every everything I need, but I thought I wanted more. Now she's lying in your arms. She fits so perfectly, and it still breaks my heart. Was it meant to be me? I realize it doesn't do me any good to dream about the good times, and a part of me knows it was the right thing to say goodbye. But I lie awake at night, I toss and turn and wonder why. In hindsight, it's so bittersweet. I could have had it all. It was everything I need, but I thought I wanted more. Now she's lying in your arms. She fits so perfectly, and it still breaks my heart. Was it meant to be me? 'Cause I missed out, could've worked out, but I had my doubts. They all seem stupid now. It's so bittersweet. I could have had it all. It was everything I need, but I thought I wanted more. Now she's lying in your arms. She fits so perfectly, and it still breaks my heart. Was it meant to be me? Was it meant to be me? Was it meant to be me? I want you to see my best side. I'm a little scared. I don't want to hide, but sometimes telling the truth is a dare. Ooh, ooh, I don't want to show what's broken, but I can't run away from you. We're a little slow to open after all we've both been through. Don't need to rush, don't need to define. This could be love, oh, you and I are taking our sweet time, sweet time, sweet time. Are we at a crowded bar, or are we sitting in the sky, sipping on champagne stars, slowing down the speed of light? Don't need to rush, don't need to define. This could be love, oh, you and I are taking our sweet time, sweet time, sweet time. Feels like I could stay forever, but you walk me to my car. Feels like we could skip ahead, but I am happy where we are. Ooh, 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 ooh. Don't need to rush, don't need to define. This could be love, oh, you and I are taking our sweet time, sweet time, sweet time. Are taking our sweet time, sweet time, sweet time. Your life's going down like a mudslide, and you're on the ground with your hands tied, feeling so done, and it's all wrong. You're locked into your indecision. You feel like you missed the audition for your own life, and it's not right. You view it from the valley and it's crowding your style. Everybody's shouting out advice. You've been down every alley in denial. All that I can do is empathize. So I'm just gonna hold space. I know that I can't change it or go and make it okay. So I'm just gonna hold space. I'm just gonna hold space. I know that I can't change it or go and make it okay. So I'm just gonna hold space. I'm just gonna hold space. I know lots of talk would be worthless. The best kind of wisdom is wordless. We can just be, we can just breathe. The dark plays its part as a witness to the stars as they burn in the stillness. And I see you, and it's still you. I'm not gonna argue with your fear and your pain. I'll listen to what you have got to say. I'm not gonna guard you from the fire and rain. All that I can do is be a safe place. I'm just gonna hold space. I know that I can't change it or go and make it okay. So I'm just gonna hold space. I'm just gonna hold space. I know that I can't change it or go and make it okay. So I'm just gonna hold space. I'm just gonna hold space. I know I can't fit in your shoes, but I can walk beside you. I can tell you when to let go, but I promise to hold space. I'm just gonna hold space. I know that I can't change it or go and make it okay. So I'm just gonna hold space. I'm just gonna hold space. I know that I can't change it or go and make it okay. So I'm just gonna hold space. I'm just gonna hold space.